you. At least you're not wet. You've not been rained on, yeah?
No, not yet.
Okay, so let's start with the trends. And of course, yes. I know the floods and yesterday's tragedies among those that are top when it comes to what's trending online. What exactly are people saying?
Well, there's a lot of reactions, especially concerns by a lot of Kenyans as to whether the rains will continue fast and how the government is handling the areas that have been flooded and what plans are in place for the families that have been displaced by the floods.
Yeah.
Of course, heavy on Mai Mahiu, the tragedy that befell the residents of Mai Mahiu yesterday, leading to over 45 deaths as at yesterday around 4 p.m. And now we are understanding that a lot of Kenyans have now been displaced because of that particular tragedy. There's a video that was doing rounds of a man seemingly carrying his, what people assume to be his dead kin, maybe a son or a daughter. It wasn't clear from the video. But Kenyans have empathized with that particular man, and that video was very, very painful to watch. And the kind of destruction that is being witnessed in Mai Mahiu is enormous. And even as the Transport CS and Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika were at the site, Kenyans still were asking them to really provide a direction from the government in terms of disaster management and sending help to those affected.
Well, it's quite heartbreaking.
It is.
Because, I've had conversations with people and seeing what guys are saying online, and Kenyan seems to not be able to catch a break. It's one thing after the other.
Yeah.
And of course, with the government saying that people need to move to higher grounds. And so many people are asking the question, where are we going in this economy? This is where we know as home. This is where we've been all these years. So where are we going? Perhaps have you interacted with such conversations online?
Oh, yes. In fact, that forms a lot of conversations online, because if you look at an area like Budalangi, for instance, an area that is always marooned year on year on. And if you look at what reactions were being taken from the ground, is that people were saying, we're not going to move altogether. Even if the place is marooned totally, we're not going to move. And now people are asking online, is it really an issue of relocation? Is it an issue of ancestral land? Is it an issue of possession of the land? People were asking all these questions, but key on these questions was the issue of the government relief. Because it is, I even saw actually someone made a poll online asking what body is responsible for this. Is it the irrigation body? Is it, for instance, like the dam that, it is said it is a dam, but it is now being, coming out to be a different story. People will say it was a dam, it was not a dam at Mai Mahiu. And people are asking, is it the irrigation department of the Ministry of Water that is in charge, or is it the Disaster Management Authority? There's really discussion about that particular bit, because who's responsible? And we've seen President William Ruto saying that counties, in an interview with BBC about 8 hours ago, he said that counties have all the mandate, they have all the funds to deal with this. They can even adjust their budgets for the same. So Kenyans were also looking at that aspect, but heavy on that relief part, Ashley.
Yeah, and sadly, we have more questions than answers.
Yeah.
And when we talk about rain, it's like, it goes without saying, there won't be power. And I know for the last couple of days, I shouldn't be laughing, but I saw this trend. Is it Tindigwa? These guys have not seen power in a while.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Tindigwa is actually a high-end estate. So Kenyans are also making fun of them because of that particular bit. But Kenya Power has now come out, and Kenya Power is arguably the largest distributor of power in Kenya. And I think the only, actually. And has now come out to clean its name, because people will say, stima ikienda, mvua ikikuja stima inaenda. And now people are asking, actually there's a trend that was going on, people tagging Kenya Power and saying, mnanua stima pia, when sisi tukianua mvua mnanua stima. So the company has clarified that power outage is not usually an intentional bit from the company. It is usually to avoid any damage to power lines, especially with lightning and the rains, because such rains as the ones that are being witnessed right now are very, very heavy and could lead to the damage of power lines and the power infrastructure. So Kenyans are also asking, is it really an honest opinion? Is it something that Kenya Power is telling us the truth? But from what it seems like an expert opinion, but Kenyans don't seem to have that.
But either way, and this is what the conversation we keep on having every time we have disasters and issues, is that shouldn't we be prepared for them?
Absolutely.
If we know when it rains there's going to be an effect, why not start mitigation measures early? You know, so exactly. I get where Kenyans are coming from. Of course, I too, I am a Kenyan, so I will complain. We never cease to complain. But, you know, away from power, let's head to Dubai. You know, we know what was experienced in Dubai, the flooding, you know, the halting of air services. And now they want to build a new airport. Now, even before we talk about Dubai, let's talk about JKIA, you know? Even as Dubai thinks of building a new airport in the next 10 years. And then you remember how we saw our JKIA flooded to the brim. Where are we going wrong?
It's interesting because people have been calling out, even online, Kenyans have been calling out the government for the roof, the leaking roof at JKIA, the flooding that was witnessed just a couple of days ago. And now, when Dubai announces that they're going to build a $35 billion airport, Kenyans definitely did not see the $35 billion part. They did not see Dubai. They saw JKIA in the shadows. And now, this particular airport, actually, will have 400 aircraft gates and 5 parallel runways. You can imagine how big of an airport that is. I would imagine from one end to the other, you'll need to use some means of transport because that is a huge airport. And of course, this particular airport is supposed to place Dubai to compete heavily amongst other airports like the one in London. Of course, JKIA being, of course, one of the regional airports. And now Kenyans were asking, where exactly is our government? We can't fix a leaking roof when other countries are building new airports. But we wait for that communication from the Ministry of Transport as well. They've been steadfast in communicating about JKIA and, you know, trying to circle back to when repairs were last done in the previous administration. And we wait to see what reaction will be to that. But Kenyans online did not even bother about Dubai and their airport. The discussion online was about JKIA and the leaking roof and the flooding that was witnessed a couple of days ago.
I guess we just need to pray for better days, or we need to make better decisions when electing our leaders, because it goes hand in hand, you know?
It does.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about America. I know there's that presidential elections coming soon. And we've seen Biden and Trump at it, going to different states, trying to gather, you know, votes and woo in voters. But here there's this recent study, or is it say a poll that says that President Joe Biden holds the lowest popular approval rating for an incumbent